Hello and welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Buy Round interview show. We are joined by a man who has created plenty of headlines, shocking the world of rugby league only weeks ago after walking away from a lucrative deal with the Bulldogs to take up the sport of boxing. Tevita Pangai Jr. Welcome to the Buy Round. How are you, mate, after a very busy and whirlwind couple of weeks?
Yeah. First, I want to say thanks for having me on. So, first podcast. So, one of my favorite front rows. So, I don't know about out of him and Ogre. They're my two favorite Bulldogs front rows. So we'll see who my favorite is. But thanks for having me on, Jimmy. I appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. We appreciate you coming on. How's it been these past few weeks then for you? Obviously, I can only imagine everybody wants to talk to you about it. Like, how are you feeling within yourself? You comfortable with the decision and sort of no regrets thing?
I think I was always going to head down this path, but I always wanted to go full-time boxing, but I just, why not now? Like, my heart wasn't really in footy, and I could sort of feel that, and I didn't really want to waste. I'm really good friends with the coach, and he's a good mate of mine. Great coach, and he's gonna be the right coach for the Dogs. But I just didn't want to waste anyone's time, and I just thought if my heart's in boxing, then I'm gonna try to give it my all. So, me and Sarah would talk about it throughout the year, and I told him in the preseason that if I might just finish up this contract and then go full-time boxing, and then I was going to try to help out as much as I could. And then one of the hardest years I've been through footy, losing Jacko, Josh Jackson, like a few days before preseason started, and then all the injuries we had, it's just been a tough year, and all our best players have been out of form, and then and I just thought, least I could do is just, let them have that bit of money that I was on for next year, and hopefully that they can, sort of do something with it that, help out Sarah and Gus and the club and the boys, and then, I can go on and do my thing, and I think it's a win-win situation for myself and the club.
And there's a lot to admire about that as well, because I personally think that the easy thing to do would be to sit on a big deal next year, have a couple of amateur fights with no real intention of being there for the long haul. Like that's the easy thing to do, right? And I think that's what most people deep down would do. So there's a lot to admire about a person that goes, I'm going to let you guys have that, and I'm walking away. So I guess the question, what everybody wants to know the answer to, is like, how serious is this boxing career? Like, I know for me, and playing sport, I was all in. And I think, being a boxing fan and an observer, you've got to go all in on boxing. Is that the case with you? Or is there, a look over your shoulder about rugby league as well?
No, I don't, like you said, you got to be all in. And at the top level, it's so hard to be sort of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And you could sort of see it in my game. So I was just like, man, if I want to box, then I got to give it my all. And like, I don't want to waste my coach's time, my teammates' time, like all the club's time. I usually, when I was living in Brisbane, because my trainer was there, I would go and box throughout the week. And I haven't really been able to do that here in Sydney. So that's sort of like my little getaway that I usually do, like go into my gym. It's like a family-based gym. We all don't pay anything. If there's something that needs to be paid for, we all chip in at Logan Boxing, and we're all pretty close, tight-knit family. So I sort of missed that as well. That's sort of what sort of kept my mind off footy, but I haven't really been able to do that in Sydney. So it's one of the big reasons why. And go away, work on my discipline, and what better sport to do it in than boxing. So
Mate, I admire your courage. So, just going back to the decision, like, I've had crazy ideas before, and you sort of think about them, but you started to bounce this off Cam Serraldo last pre-season and think you're thinking this might be you might have a future in boxing. Like, where's the? And I know you've had 2 fights already.
Yeah.
When did it really start to like consume your thoughts?
I think, to be honest, my last fight, I really enjoyed the prep of. I think I had about 8-9 weeks to prep, and it was the best I was mentally, and just it was just me. When I was in Sydney, I was training with Sonny, and it was just me and him training, and I feel like I've always enjoyed that sort of that smaller, tight-knit training sort of thing. Like, I've always just, with footy, there's 30, 40 blokes, and you can not get away with things, but I just like that that one-on-one sort of type training. So where it's just me and my trainer, and I really enjoyed the prep and learning a new skill, and then it's more technical than what people think, boxing. So, and that's also why I love it too. I'm a deep thinker, and when I started to watch more boxing and all my family know I love my footy, but when I was watching more boxing than I was watching footy, that's when I sort of knew. Like, I love watching old footy games and going back watching all these teams, all these great teams. But then when I started to watch more boxing and started to learn that craft, I just got obsessed, and then that's what sort of pushed me towards boxing. Yeah.
So you got this bit of love happening for the sport of boxing. You like that. You appreciate that one-on-one, like, singular focus. You don't have to worry too much about what's happening with the outside backs side of training and how that's going to impact you, because that can sort of get into the mind of the footballer. So obviously this season, mate, you've played State of Origin, but then, like, when did you actually know, like, this is it? And what was it like? And who do you first? Do you speak to your mentors first to bounce this idea off? And who was that?
To be honest, it was only just me and my brother, who's managing me at the moment. We sort of spoke about it, and he could see that I was really struggling in Sydney, and like, my wife, she's one of 12, lost both parents, so she's really missed her family in Brisbane, and we got one kid and one on the way in December. So my brother could see that I was missing my support network in Brisbane, and I was like, man, if I leave, I don't want to go to, like, another club, but I really want to try my hand in this boxing stuff. And then he goes, oh, you're walking away from a lot of money. And I said, I just don't care about the money. I just, like, in Brisbane, I'm myself. I'm more happy. I'm with my gym. I'm with my trainer. And if I don't do it now, then I'll be too old. If I do it after this contract, I'll waste another year of everyone's time, my time, the club's time, coach's time. So I just thought, let's just make a decision, and I did that.
So who'd you go and approach at the club? Like, whose door do you knock on and let them know?
Definitely not Gus's. I'm scared of him. He's a big scary man. I went and seen Ciro, and I just said, like, I've had to think about it, and I don't feel comfortable just taking up another year and taking up so much money in the cap. So I'll just walk away. I'll just retire, and I'm going to give this boxing my all. And he goes, oh, how far do you think you can go? And I was like, I don't know. There's a lot of heavyweights in Australia, and I said maybe I'll try and test myself in the Australian region and see how I go there, and then go from there.
So you tell Ciro, he's obviously supportive. But what about the boys? Like, are they thinking you're taking the piss? Like, or did they take you serious? Like, did they know you were being serious? Like, what is it? And you because usually, like, when a player has a big announcement, it's either the WhatsApp group message or you're up in front of the theatre there at Belmore, and you've got to tell.
Oh yeah, we sort of had like an honesty session, but Sarah pulls me on like before the meeting. He goes, "Oh, if you want to talk about it," but I don't know if he wanted me to talk about all my other personal issues that I faced. But I thought he was talking about, "Oh, do you want to tell the boys after in the honesty session?" So he goes, "I'll give you that look." And then we went upstairs, miscommunication, and I said, "Oh, boys, I've struggled with being on big money here, and I've struggled being in Sydney, and I don't feel good in myself. You know, at the end of the day, I've got to face myself every day, and I don't feel comfortable taking up so much money in the cab. I don't feel like I've handled the pressure well, so I'm just gonna give the game away, and I'm gonna go do boxing and try to find a job up in Brisbane and move back up to Brisbane. My wife's struggled here in Sydney, and we both struggled. You know, family's a big part in the Polynesian culture, and we're gonna go back to Brisbane."
Oh, and what was the reaction like after you told them that?
Oh well, you know, Fred, me and Fred, me and Fred are real tight. You know, like and he told me he always used to give it to him, but he was sort of like taken back from it. He came and seen me after. He goes, "Man, I walked over to the window and I can't believe it." He's like, he goes, "Oh, we thought we were gonna like try and get this place to a better spot." And I said, "Man, I pretty much have. Like, I feel like I've done the right thing by the club." And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Geez, you got some balls." I wouldn't walk away from that much money, but I was like, "Man, it is what it is." You know, at the end of the day, like my happiness and my family means more to me than money and my dreams. So yeah.
Yeah, no, mate, and there's not many that would do that because there's a lot of people would sit there and live unhappy lives, and they think that the dollar would be the most important thing, but it's right what you're saying. It's not.
Yeah, it's
not. And if you're drawn to this purpose, then good for you.
Yeah.
Like again, like the players did. Like, who's the first to come over to you and be, you know, what's going on, lad? Like, what are you doing here?
Oh yeah, it was weird, man. Like me and Jaden Knockenbar, like we sort of talk, but we're not like close. But and he was just like, "Man, sorry, bro, I didn't know you were going through all that and stuff." Like, and he's copped a lot of criticism, you know. And he just said, "Oh man, I didn't know it was that bad." And I was like, "Yeah, bro, I've just been struggling down here, man." And then me and Kicks are like this, and he was sort of like, "Oh man, you shocked me. Hey, I can't believe you didn't even tell me." I said, "Bro, I didn't tell anyone. I told my brother. Then I came and told Sarah straight away." And he goes, "I feel like I let you down, man. And I said, "Bro, you know me. My heart is not in it." And then you can sort of get that vibe, or you can feel it. And he goes, "Yeah, I'll try to talk to you throughout the year, but like, it's good that you made this decision." And he goes, "Man, I'm just shocked." And then
did it feel like a big relief for you to like tell your teammates?
Yeah, because at the same time, like you know, my coach and Kicks, like, you know, and they sort of see my potential, and they never gave up on me. So it was a hard decision, but you know, like at the end of the day, I didn't want to stuff them around. You know, I'm not being a real mate if I'm, you know, just taking the mickey, taking my money, collecting my paycheck at the end of every month, and I just didn't feel comfortable doing that. So
and that's fair. And honestly, there is so much to like about a person when they speak the truth, like that. So, all in at boxing. What's the pathway like? You said that, you know, you don't have to worry too much about what other people are doing in that group of 30. Singular focus. You move back to Brisbane with your wife and your family. You start back at your gym. We'll ask about the stuff. Like, how you're going to support this family. But in terms of like your pathway now to boxing, what's the stepping stone looking like? And are we talking Fury? Are we talking Usyk? Are we talking Joshua? Like, where's the aim?
Yeah, man, I would like those mega fights to happen.
You think you can get there?
Definitely with my profile and my athleticism, if I can knuckle down every day and dedicate myself to the sport, I think slowly I can get there. But like I said before, I'm not. I got a fight on October 7th, battle in the reef, on the reef, and you know, like we were speaking about before the podcast, we're sort of like in the present sort of type thing. So you don't want to, you know, look past your first opponent, but you know, all my eyes are on October 7th, and then go from there. But we do tend to think about grand finals all the time as athletes. You know, you want to.
Well, yeah. Well, even like think about yourself as a kid, right? You would have had ambitions to play first grade, right? You have ambitions to play in finals, play in big games, play for your country, play for your state. Where are your ambitions at?
Yeah, I think first, like it's you know, try and do my best in the Australian heavyweight division, and then if I can go overseas and make the mega fights happen, I think that'll be good enough for me. You know, U6 had 300 amateur fights, and he's about my height. So, and I like his style. My trainer loves that Russian type style, and it's a hard style to learn. But I think if I dedicate myself every day and you know, work on my discipline, I think, you know, anything's possible.
And it's heavyweight, because you can't probably trim down to not crew. There's no light heavyweight cruiserweight, but there's a catch weight, isn't there?
Yeah,
the WBC,
so the WBC
have the. I was looking it up yesterday. The bridge weight at 102 kilos.
Yeah.
Do you think you could get down to that?
I think if I can dedicate myself, I can definitely get down to that. And I think, you know, that weight division it's going to be a good one, because you look at all the sort of 80s, 60s, 70s, 80s, that the heavyweights were around that weight. You know, you know, Muhammad Ali would not have been much more than that. Tyson was about that as well. So I think I reckon that weight division is going to start creating some noise. And if I can cut the weight and get down to there slowly and do it the right way, I reckon there's a future there as well.
Yeah, because what would you be weighing in at?
Like my last fight, I weighed in at 109, but at the moment with rugby, with all the weights, it's about 114. So,
mate, you could easily get down to
because
if you did you know, when you fought at 109, did you do a weight cut or not?
I cut the weight because I told Ciro that I'll come in under 110. And I cut it properly. I did it over the 10 weeks. And
but if you actually did like a proper weight cut for a fight, you could easily get to 102.
Oh yeah,
like easy.
I wouldn't do it the UFC way though. If you've done your research on that, that's pretty crazy.
Mate, well,
they cut like 10 kilos in the day.
It's actually really dangerous. I watched there was obviously the MMA scene has exploded, like especially back home in England. People are dying because they can't cut weight properly, and they're trying to do it like the UFC fighters and going to lengths of extreme, actually dehydrating themselves that much. They
reckon that Alex Pereira, the guy that fought Adesanya, he gets down to 185 pounds. And then he fights at like 225, so that's like 15, more around 15 kilos.
Yeah, that's insane.
Know.
It's really dangerous. It really is dangerous.
Yeah. The worst thing about it is when you do that, there's like no water around your brain, so and that's probably why he got rocked. Their last fight they had, because there's no water around your brain, and then
it's too too extreme.
Yeah.
So you speak about the Australian heavyweight division. I'm not so as knowledgeable on that scene as what you would be. There's a lot of former and current NRL players that like to box, that they've had some great careers out of. You said you train with Sonny. is a guy like Sonny Bill Williams or Paul Gallen, someone like that. It is a potential fight in the making there.
I think Sonny's like a big brother to me as well, and then Gal's, I don't think he won't be right for me. You know, 27, he's happily retired, and there's only one guy who'll come out for, and that's the big brother Sonny. So Gal's a businessman. So those fights, not those two fights.
Yeah, fair enough.
But there is plenty of heavyweights in the and good heavyweights too, man. And there's good ones coming up trying to play NRL as well. Like I said in my press conference, there's that young kid at the Chooks, Xavier Var. He's a handy heavyweight. Alex Leopold Jr. He had a corporate fight with my brother, beat him in a decision, and also my little brother is good, but I won't fight him. Maybe for the right dollars, but my mum would lose it. So there's some in the NRL as well. Junior Paulo's a handy heavyweight. He's good, moves well. Josh Alloway. You know who else is good? That you wouldn't think he's a fighter? Jack Warden.
I've heard he can throw
He
them.
can bang, man. He can dead set bang.
But you couldn't fight. He'd be a different weight category.
No, I'm not saying I'm just talking about the prospects in
in the
NRL, and he's a gun.
Yeah.
He boxed when he was younger, so and he's been in a few.
How much of the training, like obviously there's crossover there between the skills, the weights, the dedication, all the, you know, being a full-time athlete, there's crossover there between league and boxing. But how much improvement can you see in yourself if you dedicate yourself to this sport?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. My trainer said my improvement from my first to my second fight was massive. So if I can dedicate myself the way I did my last fight camp, but do it full time, people will probably mock me, but I feel like I'm a very fast learner, and with my talent, with my God-given ability, hopefully I can see how far I can go.
Yeah, because if you're in and around these other NRL players that box in the off season or whatever it may be, but you can skyrocket if you actually become full time, right?
Yeah, and that's sort of the reason why I wanted to make that decision, because I can get all this time to just dedicate myself to one craft and see how far I can go and do something I love. I love boxing. I can't wait to get back up to Brisbane and get up every morning and go from a run, then go do boxing. So, and that's one of the things I miss. Like, just as a footy player, you can't really do extra running. Everything's all GPS, and I actually just enjoy just going for a run, just for the mental side of it. Just it's so peaceful.
It is. Yeah, I've actually found quite a lot of peace in running post football as well. There's something about it's weird. There's something about it, isn't it? It's like I feel like an early morning run. Yeah, the like endorphins that you get from it, like something releases in you, like you set up for the rest of the day. Yeah, it's a pretty good feeling. And then you see everyone waking up for work, and you just finished your morning run. It's a good feeling. It is. On that, talking of work, obviously football's paid the bills. Where's the dollars going to come in? Are you going to have to supplement your training with a bit of work as well? Or have you got enough squirreled away, or some sponsorship or potential fights to make it a possibility to go full time and not have to stress financially?
I don't think I was stressed financially. One of the good things that I learned when I first come into the NRL was Wayne told me this story about Gordon Tallis, and he said that he would live off the average wage of I don't know what a firefighter made. So he would pay himself a certain amount, and then the rest of the money was he'd save. So I've been like, a lot of the money I get, I don't really spend on myself. Like, this shirt cost me, I don't know, I just wear these black shirts, they're like $20. And a lot of the runners and stuff we get for free. So a lot of my money has gone to my family and gone to my mum's house. And yeah.
Yeah,
so I'm pretty comfortable with what I'm about to make in boxing if it's what I think it's going to be, but it's a lot more than what people think.
Yeah. So you're going into this when you move back to Brisbane. You're not going to need to have a job on the side, or
no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, mate, that's part of the. I think that's the biggest obstacle. If you can go in there, not stressing about bills, you've got that support network as well, which helps with your family. You know, there's a human side to everybody. Obviously, we put ourselves up each and every week to scrutiny, but in terms of that pressure, that life pressure at home, like that affects your football. And if life's not happy at home, it's almost impossible to have a happy life and an energized footballer. So you take away that stress when you go up there, don't you? When you take your wife back to family and yourself being back to family, where you feel at home, and especially, you know, like you say, in the Polynesian community, it's everything.
Yeah, we got a few fights lined up, but you know, my main thing is this October 7th card and not looking past that. So and it's a lot more than what Rafe and what they're saying on 360. It's definitely not 10-15 grand.
Yes, there's a bit more in it.
Yeah, there's
all the sponsorship.
especially the way Australian boxing is going now. It's starting to get I think what Gallen's done and what Sonny's done, they brought the rugby league eyes in the boxing and brought them across.
Yeah, because this is going on pay-per-view, right? Like
it's on pay-per-view.
The Battle on the Reef is going on pay-per-view. So like, mate, that's massive. Like it's huge. It's going to generate so much interest. Like, and it is bringing a lot of the NRL rugby league fans all coming over to the sport of boxing for whatever reason. Like, they've got their eye on it, right?
And a lot of people hate on the rugby league coming over to boxing. But if it wasn't for Mundine, I don't think boxing would be that big in Australia. Like, he sort of brought it back to life. And then on the back of Sonny and then Gal, you know, all the rugby league fans are creeping over and watching. You know, I think what No Limit did with Tim Tszyu and Gal, like how they built him up with Gal's name. And obviously Tim Tszyu's got a big name, but I think the way No Limit did it with Gal, his following, and then Tim Tszyu. I feel like boxing's at its best at the moment in Australia.
It is, and you know what? Like, life's not fair sometimes, and we've had it with our sport where people from union have come over to our sport, but we just crack on with it and prove you're good enough. Yeah, and you could argue they've taken a spot. Like, I came from the Super League to come and play in this competition and took somebody's spot. Yeah, that happens. It's all about improving the competition, and with boxing. Like, I get that some people have, you know, not taken up the sport like rugby league, and they've had to go through their pathway a different way. But fundamentally, if you're good enough, you're gonna make it. Whether you've, and I think NRL help and interest, it helps those non-league boxers or those careful what you got to say, like those boxers that have done it all their life, it helps their profile as well, and it helps their pairs packet, and it helps their profile.
Well, and that's why you can't hate on Gal. Like, he sort of, and he was open about it. Like, he would fight for the prize. He's a prize fighter and stuff, but he sort of gave all these Harry Garside, Tim Tszyu, all these fighters, he gave them a platform, and he said that openly enough. Like, hats off to him. And now everyone knows who Harry Garside is. Everyone knows who Tim Tszyu is. And, you know, maybe they would have got there at the end and been a household name, but I don't think they would have got there as fast as, you know, what Gal's done.
No way.
Yeah.
Like you say, the sport of boxing, here in Australia has really taken off, and it's generated interest. Like it's been massive compared to what it was without that. So before the influx of other sports athletes coming into it to maybe earn a quid, but it's elevated everybody, and I think that gets overlooked sometimes. And also, mate, just speaking to you, I can tell this is genuine. Yeah, and you've got lofty ambitions, and I'd love to see you go fight in the UK and the States, conquer Australia, and then go over there. And
that's definitely like the big plan. And but being a footy player, you sort of take it week by week, day by day. You get taught to like stay in the present, and that's one of like Cameron Serrato's big things. Just be in the present, try and stay here, because you can think about the past, you can think about the future. But yeah, he's real big on that, and that's one of the big things I'll take away from being coached by him.
We're going to take a quick break from the podcast to tell you about AG1, the daily foundational nutritional drink with all your needs in the one place. I like to look after my health, and AG1 takes care of that for me. No more tablets, vitamin pills, all the health nutrition I need, all in the one place. Every single morning, it's as easy. Open up the fridge, scoop of AG1 in a glass, cold water, stir it with a fork, drink it. It tastes great, and it helps me know. It gives me the peace of mind that all my nutritional needs are taken care of, all in the one drink. It really is as simple as that. And also, anybody that knows anything about health benefits knows that it comes with adding simple routines to your day. It's not about magic pills. They're not going to work. AG1 helps me be the best version of myself by having this new habit of every single morning having that drink. I know my nutritional bases are covered thanks to AG1. A lot of athletes are now taking AG1, and with 75 high quality ingredients, it's no wonder why. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/buyround. That's drinkag1.com/buyround. Check it out. Spoke there about Mundine. We had him on the podcast. Absolutely amazing bloke. And with boxing, obviously, training, preparation, so important. Knowledge, tactics, awareness, all those skills and attributes, but the ability to sell a fight. And Mundine did that better than anyone with the trash talking. Are we going to see that from yourself?
Yeah, I think so. I already got into a little scuffle with Jackson Murray on Instagram, but yeah, he's I think I can I'll be able to sell a fight. Try to be a promoter's dream, I guess.
Are you going to be trash talking, or are you going to do it in a respectful way?
I won't go as far as what's going on in who's that guy Logan Paul's fighting? I won't go that far, but yeah, I'll definitely know how to sell a fight.
Yeah. I look forward to that. With the training side of things, just how different is it to a league preseason?
Yeah, a lot of my teammates have asked me this, and they're like, "Oh, what do you reckon's harder?" And I'm like, "Boxing's hard, but man, rugby league is just. I reckon it's one of the hardest sports, man. Like, just you got to do you go and lift heavy weights, then you go and run into each other, then you got a wrestle session. Like, it's just, it's physically it's hard. Like, obviously you're getting punched to the head, but physically, I think rugby league is. It's got especially in the middle. Oh, I don't know how you used to play 80 minutes in the middle, man. It's just crazy. Like, you need all sort of components. Whereas boxing, you don't have to do weights if you don't want to. But obviously, you have to do weights. But you're not wrestling for an hour and a half.
You're not getting up and down off the ground.
Not getting up and down off the ground.
That's the hardest part of the training in league. I reckon it's getting up and down off the ground.
Yeah,
like. I've not got up and down off the ground since December 2020. There's just no point. I'd just never go back there.
Oh,
It's horror. It's horrible, and like being tackled, tackling people, wrestling people, then running in between. It's like a combination of just disgusting. But the boxing training plan. Are you more attracted?
Yeah,
to that.
Yeah, I'm more attracted to the running and the wrestle sessions, man. The ones we do at Smeaton Grange with Rob Whitaker's trainer, Alex. It's just like, all right, everyone line up. Then we do like, I don't know, 6 tackles each, and you're just up and down off the ground, and he makes us do like 5-10 rounds, and then we're doing rounds just up and down, and I'm just like, this up and down is killing me, man.
Yeah, it is.
And but it's still hard. I think boxing training is still hard, but it's more something that I enjoy down the line. Like we said, like I enjoy a long run and doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
How far do you run when you go running?
I started off at 6, so I was I seen Justice, he's got this thing that him and his dad do. They try and get under 27 minutes for 6Ks.
Under 27 minutes for 6K?
So it's around, I think you're around 4-minute 30 splits. And it's, for us big boys, that's pretty hard. So that was my whole goal, just trying to get that before my last fight prep. So yeah, I was doing around 6, anywhere from 6, 8, 10, nothing over 10. So
nothing over 10?
Nah.
Well, no, because you're too big to be going over 10.
Yeah, I did 10. We just held like 5-minute splits. So
5-minute splits for 10K.
For
that's
10K,
still,
yeah,
that's still good.
But I was
going.
light and running like 3-4 times a week. So you sort of get conditioned to it.
But still, mate, that's decent clicks.
Yeah.
For
I'm still chasing Isaiah Yo's splits. I remember I was like, because I'm just fascinated with all this stuff. So I just say, hey, Yoey, like, what do you do in the off season? What training do you do? He goes, I just go for road runs. I said, oh, what do you do? And he goes, I usually start off at like 5 and then I build up to 10. And I go, what's your fast? He goes, for 10, I do like 440 splits. I was like, freak. No wonder why these guys playing 80 minutes. So I got to 5 minutes on 5-minute splits, but
on the road as well.
On the road, yeah. So I'll try to get to slowly try to get to 440. So that'll be good.
Like I've done some quick ones on a treadmill before. Like I used to do 2K time trials on a treadmill.
Oh wow, yeah.
Like just put it up to speed 18 and a half, and just keep going. But it's easy on a treadmill because you can just go and forget about the world and just it does your speed for you. But on the road or on the grass, like far out, that's
I did some treadmill like runs and I'll send it to Sonny and I'll send him my times and stuff, and he goes, where's the 1.5 incline? And I'm like, what do you mean?
Oh, yeah.
And then he goes, you know, if you're running on 0, you're pretty much running downhill.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's it.
So
you're supposed to raise it. No.
I was like,
no way.
Oh. He just made me feel bad, so I got to come back and do it again.
It's good that you enjoy that. You can clearly see you enjoy that challenge, that want of information. Like, what are other people doing?
Yeah.
How can I get the best of myself? What's gonna work for me?
Yeah.
It's good. It's what's needed in an athlete, especially with yourself going into this relatively new sport.
Yeah.
I've read some of the things you've said after it about after the announcement, rather about your parents not pushing you into football when you were growing up in Newcastle, but what was it like? How did you get introduced to league when you were a little boy?
So first I started playing rugby union. I grew up in Canterbury.
Oh, I thought
like down the road, and then I moved to Newcastle when I was 12.
Oh, right. Okay, so you started in Canterbury and then moved to Newcastle.
Yeah.
Right. So you were just playing rugby over at
Canterbury Rugby Union Club. So I grew up in the area, till I was 12. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And what were you? So with your parents, like they said, can you just explain what it was like? Because I read a few quotes about that they didn't push you into it, but they just sort of helped you through it, or that was their sort of like where they thought?
Yeah, I think as a kid, you know, I just wanted to try like other sports. Like I went to like a pretty, you know, to a school where there was a lot of Portuguese, Greeks, and they were all playing soccer or football. And I was like, oh, Dad, can I go play soccer? My classmates are asking me. He goes, no, you got to play league. Or you got to play union. You got to play football. And then I remember when I was like 11 or 12, I was like missing training. Wasn't going to training. I wanted to become like a wrestler because I was a big Brock Lesnar fan. And I seen like in the WWE, like it was cool, but I seen that he went to the Olympics or something. It's like, man, that would be cool to do like a sport like that. And then my coach came and knocked on my house, on my door at home, and he's like, oh, hey, Tevita hasn't been to training in the last 2 weeks. What's going on? And then my dad goes, oh, I don't know what's been going on. I'll go speak to him.
So the coaches come knocking at the door?
Yeah, my coaches come knocking on the door, and I'm like 11, 12 years old. And then my dad's just like, he goes, how come you haven't been going to training? I said, nah, Dad, I don't want to play footy anymore. I want to try this wrestling stuff. And then he's like, no, you're not going to be a wrestler. Go back to football. And I was like, and then I started playing it. Then you like sort of meet friends, and then you know, the lucrative side of it, the money, the finance, you know, you sort of get stuck, and then you forget about all your other dreams. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
But I was always a boxing fan as well. Like I would always hit the pads and watch Floyd. Me and my brothers would go to, it's like a big thing back, like internet cafe. It was a big thing back in the day. They would go and play like Counter-Strike, Call of Duty. I would be there just watching highlights of boxers and just watching all that. Yeah. So I was into it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And so when did you start like hitting the pads, and like did your parents know you were doing this, or you were doing it like away from them, or how did that work?
Oh, they're like, you know, like we'd always do boxing as like cardio. We wouldn't really spar, but I would always like watch heaps of videos. But I knew my parents wouldn't let, and I knew that the fastest way to bomb my parents' house was playing rugby league.
Was that a big goal for you growing up?
Yeah.
To get your parents a house?
Yeah. I remember watching this video of like Sonny saying, you know, I always dreamed of buying my parents a house and this and that, and then you sort of get stuck in that, and then, you know, once you finally, you know, like my parents live pretty comfortably now, you know, where there's 8 of us, we all work and we all give them money. They live in a house paid off, car for free, and they get pocket money from all of us, so they're living comfortable. So now I'm gonna go try my own dreams, try what I want to do, you know.
Man, it must
try
be
some other things.
Must be a pretty cool feeling to do that.
Yeah, I remember when we did it, me and my brother, we put the deposit down, and then yeah, it was the best feeling, man, when my parents rocked up to the property, and yeah, it's one of the best feelings.
Yeah.
I
think again, like for all like football can give you, and sport as well, like.
Yeah,
pretty incredible to be able to do that after the sacrifice that your loved ones make for you, and whether it's, you know, a house, a feeling, that connection that you get with them.
It was the best, one of the best days when, you know, like we sort of did a presentation, brought all our first cousins from Sydney. They all came up to Canberra, or came down to Canberra, and you know, we had a big feed, did like a housewarming sort of thing, and yeah, the look on my parents' faces, because we were just house to house to house. Like, I don't mean to like act like we were poor. Like, we did have like enough money for food on the table and that, but it was just, I was over it, man. It was, I swear I went through like 10 houses as a kid, and it was just annoying, man. And it was finally, they're settled there. They've lived there since 2015, so it's been good.
Right.
Yeah, so it's awesome.
Yeah, it's incredible. And just, I can imagine what it's like bouncing around. Like, I want to do something about this.
Yeah.
And you, through sport, you managed to change that.
Yeah.
And mate, I was reading on your sporting journey, you spoke about like missing training for 2 weeks, but you must have been pretty good because you actually ended up going on to skipper the junior Kangaroos.
Yeah, yeah.
So you obviously knew what you were doing on a football field. But what was the pathway you went? Belmore, Bulldogs area.
So I was in the Bulldogs area, but I was playing union and just league at school. So I went to Endeavour Sports for about 6 months. And then my parents were just sick of us just being in Sydney. And I can understand why now I'm older that they wanted to get out of Sydney. And then we packed up, we moved to Newcastle. And then that's where I started playing like league full time because there wasn't much rugby union there. So
yeah.
And I always wanted to sort of play league because my two brothers, there was 4 of us at the time. 2 of them played rugby league and the 2 younger ones, me and my other brother, Kilu, we played league, unions. And then I was like, and then once we moved to Newcastle, we got to play league, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And then fast forward quite a bit, you end up getting a contract at the Broncos.
Yeah.
Being coached by Wayne Bennett. Was he the one that signed you? He saw something in you. Was he part of that deal to bring you up?
Yeah, so like I was in Newcastle while he was there, and I wasn't meant to leave Newcastle. So that's how we sort of.
Right.
I never really met Wayne, but my manager at the time would always say that Wayne wants to keep you, Wayne wants to. But yeah, the old my parents, my brother signed with the Raiders, and I wanted to stay in Newcastle, but they all were going to move to Canberra, and I was only going to be the one left in Newcastle, and I was ready to stay because I could see what Wayne was doing, and I wanted to be coached by Wayne. I think I was 16 at the time, but then my parents were like, "Oh, we feel bad, because my brother at the time was injured." He goes, "Oh, we can't even take him to his doctor's appointments and that." And I was just like, "Oh, I'll take one for the team. I'll come to cold Canberra for you guys, for my brother." So yeah, that's how I ended up in Canberra, and then and then Brisbane.
Yeah. How do you reflect on your time there in Brisbane? We'll talk about the exit a little after, but you enjoy it there?
Yeah, I enjoyed my time in Brisbane, just the lifestyle, and when I went there, I was like starstruck, man. Like you see, like the whole forward pack played international, like they had Adam Blair, Alex Glenn, Matt Gillette, Corey Parker, Sam Friday, like just guns. Josh Maguire, like one of them had to like always sit on the bench, so it was just like crazy. Like you watch Sam Friday and he's playing Origin, then he's got to play on the bench because it's like that hard to make the team. So, but the way I got there was I sort of called Wayne because I was like, I read his book and he was talking about a little kid in his book, about an 18, 19-year-old, and just hearing different things about, and then he ended up giving the game away because he didn't know who to listen to, but he was like 18, 19, so I was like 19 at the time. So I was like, I feel like this is speaking to me. So I got Wayne's number and I was like, "Oh, Wayne, I haven't played in a row yet, and like I've always wanted to play young and try to get my parents' house." And then he goes, "Oh, how would you feel about coming up here?" And I was like, I was just calling up for some advice. Like that's just me. Like if I want to know something or hear something, I'll just call him up straight away and just try to get information off them, pick their brain. He goes, "Oh, how would you feel to come up here?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll come for whatever you offer. I'll come straight away." And then that's how it happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've just called him for a bit of advice after reading his book.
Yeah, he might say it another way, but I was calling for advice, and then he goes, "Yeah, I've been checking the team list and your name hasn't come up." And I was like, "Oh," I said, "Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, they're probably just going another way." And then he goes, "Oh, how would you feel about coming up here?" I said, "Mate, I'd love to, but I've still got another year left." And he goes, "Oh, we'll see. I'll try to get you to the club as fast as I could." So then, yeah. And then I signed for 3 years under Wayne, so it was good.
Did you enjoy being coached by him?
Yeah, I did, man. Like he's just a man manager. Yeah, it's just he's actually genuine. So yeah, he's a bit like Cameron, just real genuine, real like person first. So Yeah, they have similar traits.
Yeah, he does put the person first.
And he's pretty funny too. You would have played with him. Got coached by him.
He is
sits at the back of the bus and stuff.
Yeah, he is a very funny human being. He's a good laugh. So your progression there at Brisbane, what was it like when you actually got to make your debut and stuff at a huge club like the Broncos?
Oh man, it was huge, man. I remember when I first got there, and you just get all these like Nike gear. It was when they were with Nike and Audi. It was just crazy, man. I was just like, wow, this is mad. And my debut. Wayne, before I got there, he goes, "Oh, I'll make sure you play like 12 games this year," and that was a big reason why I was like, "Yeah, give me that straight away."
That's so he's put you on the path.
Yeah,
so
it was similar to what sort of I don't know if you heard the story. Like Alex Ferguson said to Ronaldo's manager, he goes, "Oh, I'll make sure he plays 50% of the games." No. And I sort of heard that, and I was like, "Oh, this is probably my moment." And he goes, "I'll make sure you play 12 games next year." And I was like, "Oh." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely coming."
Wow.
Yeah.
Even though you saw the team that they had that time as well.
Yeah, and he was a man. I think he was a man of his word because I ended up playing, I think 14 or 15 that year. So yeah, it worked out well.
Oh, good. Do you still keep in touch with Wayne? Did you speak to him after the announcement?
No, I haven't spoken to him since the announcement, but I did. I did send him a nice text after Origin when I made it. It's just been a roller coaster of a ride to get to Origin. Ciro sent me a nice text saying I've had like 6-7 coaches in my NRL career, 3 different teams, and he's just like, yeah. I just wondered what my career would have been if I just had the one coach, if I had just had Ciro or just had Wayne, but I haven't had that benefit. Like I was talking to Luke Thompson the other day, he's had like 5-6 coaches in 3 years. It's just crazy. So yeah. I just sent him a nice text and said, it's been tough, my career. Like I've had 5, 6, 7 coaches and it's out of my control. But yeah, just want to thank you for you were the first one that believed in me and gave me an opportunity. And yeah,
sometimes that's all you need. Mate, when COVID hit, we like looking back now. You get in strife for going for a haircut.
Yeah.
And then the club put a number of they imposed a heap of do's and don'ts around your behaviour after that.
Yeah, and rightly so, like at the time. I did the wrong thing by the NRL, by the game and by the club. And yeah, they sort of like to keep my contract, they were like, "Oh, you got to come in at a certain weight, you gotta you can't do all these things, you gotta go work." So I had to go work at a nursery just doing like landscaping, getting $720 a week. So it was a lot of money lost. And they didn't pay me for like 3-4 months.
And your contract back.
Yeah. They didn't pay me for 3-4 months, they cut that. And I had to pay a bunch of legal fees to sort of keep my contract. And then on top of that, the NRL fined me as well. So I lost I think all up, I remember doing the math, it was like a bit over 100 grand. So it was a lot of money.
Expensive fade. Very expensive fade.
Yeah.
When, I can't remember what year it was when you left Penrith. When you left the Brisbane Broncos to move to Penrith. Yeah. Obviously, the big alpha male front rower, but it was a very difficult time as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was a difficult time at the going through that, but it was sort of like we were just in that bubble up at when I signed with Penrith. We were at that bubble in Sunshine Coast, and it was sort of the best thing that we had, like just to keep my mind off it. Me and my wife we were just sort of just hanging out with hanging out with the boys and the other partners. She'd go hang out with the girls and I'd go with the boys, and yeah, it was a good distraction to have. But yeah, it was a tough time. You know, I don't think anyone should go through it, but that's life. Having a stillborn. So
yeah, it must be heartbreaking. How do you process that? Like, you say you go and you hang out, but I think it's important that like men speak about their issues. Like, you know, I'm a big advocate for that.
Yeah.
Just that old school mentality, just sucking it up. It needs to change.
Yeah. Well, you know, I've always been taught, like, you know, try not to cry in front of everyone. If you cry, go behind a room and close the door. And that was sort of, when I first got told the news, like, man, I was rattled. But I was with the boys at the time, and I sort of still wanted to play that weekend because we're versing the Roosters, and I love versing the Roosters.
Yes. I've seen you go off in a few of those games.
And, and I was, like, keen to play. But then my team manager, he went through one or two stillborns as well at the Penrith Panthers, and he sort of told me the whole process of like a stillborn, like they still got to birth the baby, and you know, and he was just, I was just like, oh, and he goes, oh, you might, and Ivan was real good about it. He goes, oh, you might think you can play now, but you know, you've still got to birth the baby and do all that stuff. So yeah, it was hard, man. It was hard.
Yeah, man, and then. You obviously you're at the Panthers, and then you get a cruel injury blow, like
yeah,
as if you've not been dealt enough shit hands. Obviously, it putting things in perspective, that versus football is nothing but shit out of luck. Yeah,
obviously, like, you know, I went there, you know, to try and, you know, help them win a premiership, and I'm in an room with Melbourne at the time. Like, it was Melbourne and Penrith. So, it was good to, you know, like, they helped me a lot, and it was good to help them get to a premiership. But yeah, it was pretty disappointing I didn't get to play the last game. But you know, that's life, eh?
It is. Move to the Bulldogs. Have you enjoyed being down there? Obviously, I know you're moving on to pastures new, but you enjoy the club?
I think I've said this before, like, club-wise there, like, I know we're doing it tough at the moment, but we've got great fan base. You know, everyone's there's like family-orientated, and, yeah, with the coach they have now, I know it's been a tough year and everyone's just like, oh, but I think they'll do well next year.
Yeah. What are they going to do? Like, is it just a case of getting Kicks fit and the rest of the top players fit most weeks? Is that as simple as it is, or is there something that you think, like, what would you be saying to Ciro, like, on your exit? You want to see the boys do well. Like, what's the advice you're going to give to him, or what would you say to him?
Yeah, I think I think a full preseason will be good for the players. Like, a lot of them come back from World Cup and come late, you know, and then Tomo got injured, then I got injured, and then Kicks. So bit of luck as well, but yeah, just make sure everyone's fit. This is a tough year, man. Just so many injuries. So, but I still think they got a good squad on paper.
I agree with you.
Yeah, and with Crichton coming, I think,
he'll add a lot for sure. Mate, before we get into the last little bit of it, just want to talk quickly on some rep stuff. Playing for New South Wales this year, I actually thought you played really well. Like, you have an offload, but that's what you're there to do.
Yeah.
You like bring something different, but it's obviously for aggression.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to see your team. I think New South Wales got intimidated last time out, especially Matt Burton. What was Freddie's instructions to you? Like, what was you? Because again, I thought you got unfairly criticised due to one moment, but was that part of the plan?
Yeah. Oh man, it's just, like I said, it's just been one of those years where, you know, where I've made an error and then they've scored off the back of it. So I think it's happened to me like 4 or 5 times and in 1 year. So I think that just put a lot of scrutiny on me, and then Yeah, but it was good to play. Like it was a good game. It was good to be a part of and, you know, tick one off the bucket list. But yeah, Freddie's advice wasn't, it was just be aggressive and go out go as hard as you can for as long as you can. If it's 15 minutes, 10 minutes, he didn't really care as long as I try to set a platform. Yeah. So,
yeah. Did you think you'd done enough to play game 2 and 3?
I think the game against Parramatta the week leading into game 2, I think I made those. I was trying to pressure Moses, trying to make him the play early, so give the edges a easier decision. But yeah, I sort of missed my assignment on 2 of those, and then I guess that made Freddie's mind up.
Yeah, fair enough. The other rep thing I want to ask you about. 2017 World Cup semi-final. It's still, to me, like the most insane game I've ever played in.
Yeah, that was.
What was it like from your point of view?
Oh, I've always just got this. Like you were up 20-0, and then I sort of come on for my last in, and he's like, "Oh, try to change the momentum," and I was like, "Man,
it's actually making me nervous." Talking about that.
Yeah, so I was like, Wolfie's like sending down the message. He goes, "Oh, make sure you try and change the momentum." And I was still 20 points down, but I was like, we still can win this. We can still. There's like 12, 13 minutes left. Just get one try and then go from there. And then I think I scored the first try, and then we sort of marched down, and then Saliva Havili scored one, and then Jace set one up. The next one on a kickoff set, and it was just
mate, you go flying.
Yeah, and it was just crazy, man. I remember we lost the ball, but then who's the wingers?
Jermaine McGilvery, he got the intercept.
Yeah, he got the intercept, and
then
it was me that went for the one-on-one strip.
Oh, did you? Was it you that stripped it off him?
I was like, man, I said we need the ball back, man. I was like, it was like split second. I was like, bro, we need to get the ball back. I seen him running my way, and I was like, playing at the ball, and then he dropped the ball. And then
you've got no idea how stressed. I was fucking stressed. I was in that moment because obviously we were under the cosh big time.
Yeah.
And then got the intercept, and when you just go like, oh, yes, it's over. And then he's fucking lost it. And then it's just you've gone from to like, oh shit. Yeah. Here comes this fucking sea of red again. It's like, oh my God. Like,
what do you think of the crowd? Or you reckon the crowd is
the best atmosphere I've ever played in? I played at Wembley Stadium in front of like 80,000, Old Trafford. Mate, the best atmosphere I've ever played in. Even when we were...
they sing, they do songs that...
Yeah, but mate, not like that.
Yeah,
not
that was
like
a cool experience.
Mate, 20-0 down.
Yeah.
And those fans were just kept on singing.
Oh, man.
Mate, at the end of that game, no joke, obviously it finished quite controversially. Like I went into like, oh fuck, I've got to go. Like me missus, me daughter, or me two missus and 2 daughters, mum and dad were in the crowd.
Yeah.
Obviously it was it was like 99.9% Tongans. I'm like, shit, I'm gonna have to get them down, and because there's gonna be a fucking riot here. And they were all just like, hey, well played, James. I was like, what? Oh, because that was, mate, but like any other sport in the world, a decision like that. And there's fucking riots on your hands, but it was incredible. But go on, tell us about that.
I'm not gonna be biased. Sorry, Andrew, but I reckon he dropped the ball. But what do you reckon? 50-50 or
50-50?
I always say that. I said, mate, you dropped the ball. It's all right. And he goes, nah.
But mate, so you chased back and you had the presence of mind to knock it out of.
Yeah, I knew there was only like a minute left, and I was like, man, we got to get the ball back. And he went right foot, and I was just like. And the ball came out, and then I was like, oh, yes. And then I sort of scooped the ball up, and then I was going to try play for a penalty because who's the big prop with the headgear?
Chris Hill.
Yeah, he was in, his foot was in. I was going to try and play for milk a penalty, but it was like, I was like going to play the ball.
Because what was it? It was 2018 at that point, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I remember Dylan Walker did it in a State of Origin, and he didn't get it.
Yes.
And I was like, I was scared, and that was playing back in my mind. I was like, no, I'll just play it properly.
Mate.
And then... yeah, rest is history.
Mate, that was so stressful.
I just remember I was talking to Jeremy Hicksman and he goes, man, I just kept running out for like 10 minutes, going back on the field, walking up to kick the ball up.
That's like, we were just in, it was almost done. And then you guys just got that one try from you. And then it was just like, oh shit, kick off set. Fucking hell, here we go again.
Yeah. No, it was crazy, man.
Mate, it was. It's one of the best games of rugby. Like, for atmosphere wise, the best. And one of the best games I've ever been a part of. Like going down to the wire like that. Yeah. Like so in a World Cup semi, it was incredible. Yeah. Like, and it was a good example of what sport should be about. Like the crowd in that game. Yeah. Like were so amazing. Like not stopping singing. I remember when the King of Tonga come out. Yeah. And like we were warming up and it's just eruption. I'm like, what's going on here? And then it's like, oh no, the King of Tonga's in here. Like,
nah, they're good fans. Like I remember
amazing fans, man.
We versed Australia and they were shocked that we were singing the Australian anthem as well, the Tongan fans. So it was they're good fans. I don't think they're
and I know they're not the most amazing set of fans ever. I just shit myself because I know that's what had happened back in England. It was fucking I thought it was all on. We get to 4 questions for each and every guest. This one is the Dream Spine. Thanks to Tooheys for organising this and supporting us. Tooheys are all about teamwork. Dream Spines, or spines make the team work. So we don't really have any rules on it, mate. Just a 1, 6, 7, 9 that you've and why you'd want them in your dream spine.
I think number 1 I'd go probably Prime Turbo.
Oh right, Tommy Turbo.
Tommy Turbo.
But in his prime.
When he's not injured, like hopefully next year we can see it. Hopefully he's like looking after his body and stuff. I don't know,
mate, that Kohler dude's
pretty
fucking good.
He was fast, eh?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
They reckon he ran like a 10.85 in school.
In school?
10.85, yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy fast.
That is. 6, 7, 9.
6. I versed him. I'd have to go JT. Yeah.
He was awesome.
JT, yeah.
Very.
Man, I hated versing him, man. Did you ever verse him? You versed him
plenty of times, yeah.
Did he used to just sort of watch your body language and like look at you like this?
He was always
see if you're tired, always scheming on you?
Always scanning. And just competing.
Coming off sideways, he'll play back inside. Yeah. I remember watching him a game in Newcastle, just watching him from the top. It was like he would just pick the right option every time. Like he had 4 or 5 options, pick the right one.
It's a good way to I reckon it's a really good way to watch really good playmakers that don't go in the stands, go as high as you can and watch all their decisions. It's pretty cool to watch.
Eagle Cam.
Yeah, Eagle Cam, yeah. Or if you get access to Eagle Cam, get that.
Yeah. 7, I'd have to go with my mate Nathan Cleary, Big Cles. Good teammate, good fella, good work ethic, and good player.
Give me half. Then 9.
9. I'm tossing up between Cameron Smith and Appy Coruscant.
You played with Appy?
Yeah, I played with Appy. So, but I'll have to go Cameron Smith just because of, Corey Parker just brags on about how cool and collected he is on the pressure and how he gets the grip. So I'd have to go with Cameron Smith.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, that's a pretty decent spine. So Prime Turbo, JT, Nathan Cleary, Cameron Smith. Wouldn't be a bad... That's the dream spine. Thanks to Tooheys for that segment of the show. If footy did... You probably already answered this, but if football didn't exist, what do you think you'd be doing?
Boxing.
Yeah. We asked that to Mundine and he said the same thing. A sliding doors moment that you think about what would have happened or what could have happened. So for me, it would be moving to England. Oh, sorry, if I'd have stayed in England and not moved here?
Well, probably similar to you. If I didn't make the call to Wayne, I'm not sure. I probably was sort of close to giving the game away then.
Really?
Yeah. Because, you know, you sort of get into this, and this is why I hate under-20s, these things. Like, a lot of players think if you don't make it before under-20s, then there's no other pathway, which is so dumb. Like, and I sort of got in that mindset as well. It's like, oh, what happens if I don't make it before under-20s? Like, I'd have to go play, like, park footy and go through that way. But there's always a pathway. Like, look at Cody Walker. Like, a lot of players have played after 20 and had long careers,
Mate,
but yeah.
Most probably would, but we see like, you know, Sam Walker or Swalihi, and it's like, oh, I've got to play at 18. If I've not made it at 18, I'm screwed.
Yeah, and I was in that mindset. I was like, man, if I don't play at like 18, 19, like Sonny and Izzy, I'm like, oh, jeez. Yeah. And you sort and then the under 20s, and then that puts more pressure on players. They think that they have to give the game away, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen a lot. So I was, that phone call to Wayne. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Last question. The most interesting person you've met on your journey? Doesn't have to be football.
I know you would hate me mentioning his name, but I'd have to say probably Coda Nasa.
Ah.
Yeah. Good friend of mine. He's managed Sonny and Chalk's career. He's just out of the box. Just thinks outside of the box. And he didn't agree with my decision the other. Like, I didn't even tell him. He called me up and he goes, oh, you're such an idiot. But I just like the way he thinks outside of the box and he thinks anything's possible. Like, he's just got that ambitious mindset. And he sort of gives you that belief. And, yeah, he's a good sounding board for the game that we're about to go into, for me and my brother. Me and my brothers. My little brother boxing and my big brother that's managing me. So, yeah, Coda Nasa is, ask anyone, he's the funniest bloke too. So, yeah, he's good.
Nice. All right. Well, mate, thank you so much for joining us here on the Buy Round. Loved having you on. And, mate, I'm genuinely excited about your future. Like, speaking to you, you can sense your love and your passion for the sport of boxing. And who knows where you might get to. Might be at Wembley Stadium taking on Tyson Fury if you can get in quick enough with Joshua or Usyk or whoever's at the top of the tree come then. But, mate, it's an exciting journey. And most importantly, mate, the reasons behind why you're doing it. I think there's a lot to admire about that, because the easy option is to take the Bulldogs for a ride next year, not be all in, do a few amateur fights.
I really want to do that.
Exactly, mate. And credit to you. Well, thanks again, mate.
No, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.